Boom! Welcome, guys. It's me again, reporting from the cave. Um, so yeah, let's get straight to the point. Unfortunately, this week, no, I want to maybe add some details to my script here, as I've just wrote it to guide myself in this, in the process of this video recording. But certainly, I will have some things to add as I think I will go through these points. And first of all, let's start with the quote-unquote focus areas. As you can see here, it's still thesis planning, and now I fully kind of had to move to the to my sport goals. But unfortunately, this week I haven't done anything useful regarding this. Like three things. So here you can see I was bothered with the ESG essay. Then I had to do my time series analysis homework. And I spent some time with friends, some time on my work, some time on writing diaries, and a little bit of thesis, but I can't even remember what was this thing. Maybe it was the 5th of March. I guess the 5th of March, or maybe the 6th of March, where I had to submit the task. So maybe these are a couple of minutes. Now, despite the fact that I have stuck upon despite these sad fact that I haven't managed to do anything, I have stuck upon several podcasts and interesting life situations that I want to highlight in the following, I guess, 5 or 7 minutes, or as we already talking for 2, I guess for the maybe 10 to 15 minutes, to be honest with you. So first of all, let's talk about physics, as I've kind of embraced it. It's like the base department science, 100%. I still don't have sufficient words or maybe concepts or maybe both of them to describe my feelings. But in some sense, physics is a tangible math, basically. Maybe it's the vice versa situation, so you are experiencing the real world and then try to build some abstractions and useful language around it. But physics seem to be this continuous and unchanging thing, which is true for all sides of our universe, like the math for our cognition, for the abstract concepts. Physics seem to be something similar to the real world, and that's what kind of fascinates me. I got this insight or maybe excitement when I've heard to the podcast with, I kind of forgot his name, but it was an astrophysicist from Stanford, I guess. So it's the Stanford Black Hole Society or something like this. So the guy basically, the man, basically studies black holes and that's it. So nothing more, just black holes. And he was so fascinated with it, and he described so many interesting concepts that I even wanted to begin learning physics, which I kind of haven't done yet, as physics is a very vague direction, so you can't really go and do physics. That's insane. You have to have some problems, or maybe some clear line of sight. Where are you going? So I've stuck upon the next thing which I want to talk, which is maths. And when you embracing physics, you cannot skip the step, which I also did this week. So we had a couple of lectures, as you may see here. We had pretty much the 12 hours of lectures about the time series, their analysis, how to reason about them, intuition behind it. And what is more important is that we were fully mathematical. So we had sufficient proofs. We had formulated several hypotheses using the mathematical statistics language and ideas from there. So yeah, it was kind of mathematical, and I think that kind of also sparked some excitement in me. So I just had the pleasure to see how concepts like from real world, like time in time series, it's basically the only feature the dataset has. So words like time, maybe uncertainty, they obtained kind of these physical borders, physical form. They've become something meaningful in these mathematical terms. And now I want to learn fundamental maths and physics by the age of 30. I know it's a very ambitious task, and I still have to define the boundaries for this effort. Let's call it like this. But I guess that's a tangible effort. That's a tangible goal, um, and you could possibly like reap the benefits from doing this, as I think that this is basically the most fundamental stuff you can learn and try to monetize, or maybe just for the sake of learning. It's very interesting, but of course I have to consider the monetization opportunities and etc. etc. I think it's kind of um, very interesting domain of science by its own. But I know I don't know. I just have this mixed feeling about the physics and maths. I'm just so excited, maybe, but in the same time, I remember my harsh experience with it in school and in university also. So I guess I have to carefully approach this beast, um, to yeah, basically to obtain so-called mathematical thinking. I guess it's an essential skill for the human being. So I've heard this interesting take that like brain is very power hungry entity that if it wasn't used by 100%, it just had to like devolve, like evolve, degrade backwards. But it hasn't. It hadn't, and I think that yeah, I have to utilize the potential of the brain, which could only be done through maths, physics, and general understanding through science. So it's basically the functions of the brain. So yeah, that's what about the physics part. Um, Now I had like two more paragraphs. Um, this is like the one before last, and it is dedicated to my decision to rework my whole approach to task management and striking. I was thinking through the question of why a brain likes to pick up new things, learn them, and eventually like become discouraged. So I was like exploring this problem uh, because I kind of grasped the sense when I kind of losing the excitement. I was slowly losing excitement in some during some work, during some task, which I was initially very excited about. Um, I kind of sensed this moment, measured it, and decided to think through it. And I had two fundamental reasons about why it's happening. So first reason is that new domains are conveniently loose for brain to explore them. What I mean by that is brain can formulate problems and in some way immediately solve them. Of course, these problems are maybe 90% of them are complete nonsense. So they just byproduct of brain trying to do something else. But at this point of understanding in the domain, the brain can distinguish good problems from bad ones. So yeah, it got trapped itself in this caveat of infinite thinking about very like unrelatable problems that are basically formulated with error, and therefore they cannot be solved like completely, as you have you cannot extract the valuable information from it as you formulated it already with the errors. So yeah, I guess that's not a good thing. And the second reason is that brain simply likes to predict the future, and in this new area of knowledge, it can easily do this, approximating, evaluating different possible future outcomes of learning this new shiny thing. I guess is definitely very appealing and rewarding for the brain. So, like, I was kind of contemplating this problem, and I stuck upon a very interesting concept, which is like the Deming cycle and open-close loops. So my initial idea was that, I forgot to specify the main problem. The main problem was that I found myself easily picking up something new and losing courage in the process of doing this. So yeah, how to fix this new excitement is to arm yourself with the Deming cycle from IT service management, which is basically like proposing a cycle of 4 stages, which are plan, do, check, and act stages. So you have to plan your work, you have to do this, you have to check whether you've done it correct or not, and then you have to reflect about what you've done. And it seems to be a very convenient abstraction over the open-close loops, which you can generalize for pretty much all the activities you do, if you want, of course, to improve in them. So, for example, let's try reading book. So, plan. You have to outline what are your goals, what are the ending conditions for this project. Maybe you want to read one chapter, maybe like 5 chapters. So you have to think in advance. You basically have to reduce uncertainty in advance, and then of course the plan will fail, of course. But like I've heard this phrase that planning, plans are useless, but planning is essential. And that's what you are doing here. So you have to think in advance, maybe map some knowledge, gather some information about your topic of interest, and then only then you have to start doing this. So in the book, using the book example, you have to read or maybe skim through the overview of the book, maybe some headings. So yeah, basically have to check whether the content itself will be viable for you to obtain. Then you have to do this. So you have to read the book. Then you have to check. Maybe this stage could be ambiguous, but in the book example, you can, for example, spend some time on writing some things from it into your knowledge management system, basically. Then you have, of course, to act about it. So you have to reflect what was good, what was wrong in the process, maybe try to fix something in your next cycle. And like this cycle, you have to cycle through it basically infinite amount of times. So this week, I plan to elaborate on this idea, as it seems to be the nice candidate to replace my current leap system. I will talk about it in the next video. So the next video will be the conclusion. So we have week 9, and the last week will be the concluding week, where I plan to reflect on this journey and outline the new one. So it will still have 10 weeks, but I kind of want to change this focus area stuff, as I simply do not follow these steps, like thesis. Yes, what does it mean, the direction thesis? So thesis is 3 credits worth, which means that it can basically be done within 1 week of effort. So is this relevant for the 10 weeks? I don't think so. For the planning, you have to do it anyway. So how you can track whether you fulfilled this exception? You can see here that I've kind of tried to outline which activities counts as following the planning phase. For example, I was recording blogs. I haven't put efforts in chosen areas effortlessly. So without effort. So I mean with effort. So they just like the deadlines came, the deadlines came, and then I was doing them. So like this, there was no planning phase. Just the deadline. You have the deadline. You do this, and that's basically it. So TOEFL again. I had a couple of as you may see here. So I have. I mean, we'll talk about it in the next section, but you kind of may grasp my attitude towards these focus areas, as I don't think it's a tangible concept to pursue, like these focus areas things. And some more bitter news, like at the end, regarding my great land experience. During this week, I still was able to control myself in terms of social media usage, but after some serious tension was built up, I've kind of relapsed. So this was the second goal. So the first was to restrict myself the usage from the usage of all kinds of social networks. Kind of succeed in this, but I relapsed on the second week, or maybe after 1.5 week, during my NoFap experience, and this is sad news. I still don't know how to approach this demon, to be called so, as it seems just like an unstoppable force of nature that I'm still don't ready to fight. I kind of reason about that, like there could be too much pressure from the environment, let's call it so. Maybe you have a lot of deadlines, a lot of uncertainties, and your brain just can't handle them without like good old meat-beating experience. Or maybe they're just not there are not any like working system in place that could prevent me from like relapsing. Still don't know how to do this, and I even don't know how to approach, as basically this week I had all the things turned off. It's just the brain. It just like triggers the images. You can't think. You're like, and yeah, it's basically unworkable condition. You just have to go and like, yeah. This is literally rest in pepperoni moment, and on this like sad thing, I want to thank you for joining me on this like 18 minutes schizo session. So it's basically it for now. Let's put it aggressively on the like this was completely failed week. So yeah, glad to see you, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.